Okay, so we are in Masechet Beitzah, first chapter, third Mishnah, Mishnah Gimel. So we were talking yesterday that on Yom Tov, unlike Shabbat, when it comes to food, you're allowed to do things that has to do with food. And if it tastes better, you're allowed to shecht on Yom Tov. For example, slaughter an animal, butcher it, do the whole thing, because it tastes better, unlike Shabbat. Because it says by Yom Tov ochel nefesh. But then we learned yesterday one more rule. It has to be designated to it. If it wasn't designated for it, you're not allowed to touch it. It's muktzeh. What does it mean designated for it? So for example, if you have a store and you have produce in the store, you have apples that is designated to sell, and the store is in your house, and you want to use those apples that are designated for sale to eat on Yom Tov, you're not allowed to. It's because it's designated for something else. You didn't have in mind that these apples might be eaten for Shabbos. They were doing. So it has to be prepared. So like it says, you learned yesterday, mina muchan. It has to be from the things that are prepared you're allowed to make. So that's what we're going to discuss today. Actually, in Mishnah Dalet we're going to discuss it more than Mishnah Gimel, but we're going to see. Bi'ur Mishnah Gimel. So this is the explanation for Mishnah Gimel. Beit Shammai omrim, Beit Shammai say, En molichim et hasulam mishuvach leshuvach. Says you do not move the ladder from one, how do you call a place where you put the doves in? The dove coat from one dove tower to another dove tower. They used to have the dove towers, you know. So you're not allowed to move the ladder from one dove tower to another dove tower. It was actually their chicken coops in their time. You know, they used to eat doves. That was the main food. You know, carry on Yom Tov. You're allowed to. You're allowed to carry on Yom Tov, right? Beit Shammai says you're not allowed to. You're not allowed to carry the ladder from one to the other. And we don't know why yet. Wait, let's see. Why would you move it from one dove tower to another dove tower? Kedei litol yonin leshachtam b'yom tov. Because it says it's a Yom Tov. You want some fresh meat. Yeah, you want to climb up to take a dove and say, so what's the problem? ומדובר כאן ביונים שהכינם בערב יום טוב. And you prepared. You said, you don't... this tower, all the yonim in there, all the doves in there, I'm going to eat them tomorrow. Or I'm going to eat one of them tomorrow. It doesn't matter. I'm going to eat one of those guys tomorrow. You know? So you did designate them. And you still says you're not allowed to move the zero. שהכינם בערב יום טוב הכנה ראויה להם. Before יום טוב, you've already prepared them. In other words, everything is good. כמבואר להלן בשפה של משנתנו. Like we're going to explain later on in the end of the Mishnah. ואילו היה הסולם במקומו על יד השובח. In other words, if the ladder was already there, you'll be allowed to climb on the ladder and to take it. But the ladder was somewhere else. And now you want to move the ladder? It looks like Beit Shammai says, you could have done it yesterday. There's no reason for you to do it today. Since you could have done it yesterday, you should have done it yesterday.
Gary,
yeah.
What's the meaning? To do it the day before, if you can do it in the Yom Tov.
You jumped into the conclusion that you're allowed to carry on Yom Tov. Are you?
למדנו.
Are you allowed to carry on Yom Tov?
We learned that you can carry, you can take the afar from here and cover and carry.
For what? For ochel?
Or for all the nefesh.
For things you cannot do beforehand, right? Right. See what it's going to be delicate. So, if the ladder was already there, היה רשאי לעלות וליטול. He would be allowed to go up, to take the dove, and do everything. אלא שלא היה הסולם משובח במקומו. But in our case, the ladder was somewhere else. You could have done it yesterday, Beit Shammai says. You should have done it yesterday. In other words, it's not really, it has nothing to do with preparation of the food. It has to do with your laziness. You didn't want to put it over the... והוא צריך לטרוח להביא סולם. Now in other words, he's saying, you prepared your work to do on Yom Tov. That's what you did. You prepared to do work on Yom Tov. He says, hey, why should I do it today? I can do it tomorrow. In other words, you're preparing to get some work done the next day. I don't like it, בית שמאי says, okay? ממקום אחר. וסוברים בית שמאי שאסור לעשות כן ביום טוב, להוליך את הסולם משובח לשובח. In other words, בית שמאי says, you want it, those things that needs to be prepared beforehand, you need to prepare beforehand. That's what בית שמאי say. But Beit Shammai says, you know what, I'm going to let you. Sometimes these dove towers have 4 sides, for example. So it's 4 holes. So if you go out from this hole, you cannot reach the other hole. So it says, on the same one, I will allow you to move it around. Yeah? That I will allow you to do. אבל מטהו מחלון לחלון. But you can move it from one window to another window. מותר להטות את הסולם מחלון לחלון שבאותו שובח עצמו. You're allowed to move the ladder from one window to another window. ובית הלל, and the house of Hillel, מתירין, they say everything is allowed. Carry on Yom Tov. What's the problem? You're allowed to carry on Yom Tov. אפילו להוליך סולם משובח לשובח. Even to take the ladder from one dove tower to another dove tower. Okay, so let's try to understand a little bit deeper over here. בגמרא מבואר, the Gemara explains, שסולם של עלייה. So the Gemara goes into a whole discussion. Which sulam are they talking about? Which type of ladder? There's different kind of ladders. Some may be allowed, some may be not allowed. So the Gemara explains, שסולם של עלייה is a ladder that you go up to the attic for. You know, those kind of ladders, whatever they used in those days, I'm not quite sure what they used, but it's a ladder that you used to climb the attic. היינו שעולים בו לעלייה לקומה שנייה, that you go into the second floor. אף לבת בית הלל אסור להוליכו לשובח ביום טוב. Even according to the house of Hillel, you're not allowed to move it to the shovach on Yom Tov. Because it's like, Beit Hillel says, you're taking the staircase in your house, in our staircase, and you move it somewhere else. It's not made for it. Yeah? In other words, shuvah, it looks like there's 2 ladders for the dove nest and ladders for home. The ladders for home are supposed to be used at home. That nobody allows you to take outside.
More like stairs, kind
yeah,
of.
The more heavy duty, let's call it, yeah. The more heavy duty. So it says, so we see that everybody says you're not allowed to move. Even Beit Hillel, you're not allowed to carry. Wait, it's not carrying. Even Beit Hillel doesn't allow to carry. He allows to carry sometimes. What? When it has to do with food. You have to reach your food, you're allowed to carry. Yeah? But over here, it's this sulam that has nothing to do with food. The ladder itself has no connection to food. So if the ladder doesn't have any connection to food, don't use it for food. Use the ladder that has to do with food for food. It looks like, but just carrying, you notice over here, it's a new understanding in carrying now. By the way, this is the true understanding. We're going to see also halacha today. We're not going to discuss halachas today, but carrying on Yom Tov, we take for granted, it's not so granted. Don't take, you're allowed to carry anything on Yom Tov. No. We're going to learn later on. You're not allowed to carry anything on Yom Tov.
Like a skateboard?
We'll discuss. Maybe you're not allowed to carry your skateboard on Yom Tov. Very good. Very good. Maybe you're allowed to carry almost anything on Yom Tov.
Maybe your jacket if it's too hot out?
Maybe you're not allowed to.
Maybe your lulav?
Yeah. Maybe your lulav. By the way, it's going to be later on. We're going to discuss lulav. Okay? So it says, when the ladder wasn't designated for this chicken coop or for the dove coop, you might know. לא נחלקו אלא בסולם של שובח. They disagree in a ladder that has to do with a dove coop. שלדעת בית שמאי אסור להוליכו ביום טוב. According to the house of Shammai, you're not allowed to move it on Yom Tov. And you ask Beit Shammai, why are you not allowed to move it? What's the problem? Halachically, everything is fine. You're doing it for food. So what are you afraid of? And look what Beit Shammai says. Something very strange. He says, Shema yachshedu bo. It says it's maris ein. You're not breaking any Yom Tov rules. He says, you're not breaking any Yom Tov rule. There's no problem with Yom Tov rule. Marit ein. It says, it looks suspicious. People may look at you and they think you're doing something else.
You're fixing your roof.
או יחשבו בו שמוליכו לתיקון גגו ועושו במלאכה ביום טוב. People don't know. They see you walking around with a ladder, they're going to think, hey, this guy is fixing his roof up on Yom Tov. Cleaning his chimney on Yom Tov. Cleaning the gutters on Yom Tov. People don't know. They're seeing you walking around with a ladder. So therefore, I'm going to disallow it. In other words, if you ask Beit Shammai, what is more stringent, Simchas Yom Tov or Shema Yir'u? He says, maybe people are going to make a mistake, is stringier than your happiness on Yom Tov. And it looks like Beit Hillel says, no, your Simchas Yom Tov is more important than the stringency of maybe they will see. That's going to be the machloket, okay? So it says, but you know what? I can avoid this problem. How can I avoid this problem? In my property, the walls are so high, no one can see. So then I avoided the problem. Mari sign. So it says, you didn't, Beit Shammai says, you didn't avoid the problem. Why you didn't? By the way, this is going to be the same logic is going to be used for every time we say Mari sign. Every time we say the rule of maybe people are going to make a mistake, we're going to have this rule. ואפילו בחצרו, even if it's in your courtyard, שאין אדם רואהו, you've got big walls, nobody can see you. אסור. Beit Shammai says you're still prohibited. Why? שכל דבר שאסרו חכמים מפני מראית העין, because every time the sages disallowed because somebody can make a mistake, אפילו בחדרי חדרים אסור. It is completely forbidden, even if you lock yourself within a room and you're all by yourself over there, even there it's not allowed. Yeah? Once it's not allowed, it's not allowed.
You can't do it in dark.
You can't do it in the dark. That's right.
Say at night, nobody see the ladder. I move it everywhere.
No such things. Nobody's around. Nobody's in town. You're the only person in the 100 miles. There's nobody there. Still, you're not allowed to do it. אז ובית הלל מתירים, and the house of Hillel says you're permitted. שהואיל וסולם ששובחו, and why do they permit? Specifically, they say they wouldn't permit the sulam ragil, the house sulam, because then somebody suspects you. But this, everybody sees it's a sulam, the ladder belongs to the doves. So everybody will not assume you're going to fix your house. Why would you think you're going to fix your house? It's easier to think you're going to go do it for the eating. That's what Beit Hillel said. ולא יחשדו בו שמלכו תכנון גגו. In other words, there's no maris ayin according to Beit Hillel as long as you use the right letter. As long as you use the right letter. ויש מפרשים, and there are those who explain, שאף בית הלל, that even according to the house of Hillel, סוברים, they even hold, שברשות הרבים אסור להוליך ביום טוב אפילו סולם של שובח. It says, even Beit Hillel only permit you to take the sulam from your house and in your courtyard, or maybe in the street that you're in, but they will not allow you to carry it into the public domain. Public domain, even the house of Hillel is not going to allow you. In other words, we see, even according to some opinions, you're not allowed to carry. You're not allowed to carry. And we're going to say, you're not allowed to carry almost anything unless it's for food in the public domain. So, according to Beit Hillel, are you allowed to carry something from your house? For example, am I allowed to take a book, a siddur, from my house to shul on a Yom Tov?
Unless you don't have any other one. Just
it's for what? It's for food? The book is for food?
for davening.
But is it for food?
No.
So am I allowed to? See, I don't know if even the house of Hillel.
Any enjoyment of the Yom Tov?
Oh, so maybe for enjoyment of Yom Tov they will permit. We'll see that later on. We'll talk. But you can see, just up to now, it doesn't look like the house of Hillel will allow you to take a book.
You can't take the baby, bring the baby to shul.
Maybe you can't even take the baby to shul. That's right.
Not ochel.
Yeah, it's not ochel. Maybe that's right. From up to now, the way we read it up to now, if it has got nothing to do with food, don't carry. Even the house of Hillel agrees. Yeah, it's not so simple that we're carrying in Yom Tov. Just have this in mind. We're going to see what's going on. How come we are allowed to?
Maybe umbrella.
Maybe you're not allowed to.
Maybe it's not necessarily that you
Allowed to.
allowed to carry.
That's right. שמא יאמרו הבריות, it says, maybe the people are going to say, שלתקן גגו עולה, that to fix the roof is going to, ולא התירו סולם של שובח, אלא ברשות היחיד. Some say that the house of Hillel only permitted you to move the ladder for the doves only in your domain, but it didn't allow you to move it in the public domain. ואף על גב שכל דבר שעשו חכמים משום מראה עין, אף בחדרי חדרים אסור. He says, hey, wait. We have a rule. If it's not allowed in the public domain, it shouldn't be allowed in your own domain. So didn't we just say the rule? So how come? So what is Beit Hillel going to say now? They're in trouble. So you say, so look what it says. Kan heteru, the sages over here permitted because there's a new concept. Not only because of ochel nefesh, simchas yom tov. We have another concept. In a yom tov, you're supposed to have joy. You're supposed to be happy. And this prevents you from being happy. Maybe the book that we're carrying from home to this is going to make me happy. I'm going to read it. It's going to give me some joy. Maybe then I'm allowed to. But without this concept of simchas yom tov, I wouldn't be allowed to. I can't carry. So in other
You have to think about that then.
so in other words, your wife tells you, I need this coat. You know, I don't go with the coat. But I need this coat after Yom Tov in Shul. Because I'm going to coat. Wear my coat, she's going to tell you. To Shul, for example. Let's say it's a unisex coat. So I'm allowed to. Take my coat to Shul. Am I allowed to?
But you don't care? What do you mean? If you wear it?
No. Hold it.
Oh, hold it. No. Of course not.
Why not?
Because the enjoyment is after the Yom Tov.
Because the enjoyment is after Yom Tov. So you see,
Not for the Yom Tov.
so there are times we think Yom Tov is allowed to carry everything. No, it's not. If it's for the purpose of Simchas Yom Tov, you're allowed to. If it's for the purpose of food, you're allowed to. But not for any other purpose.
If you have a key, you have a problem. Because you can't do it for Simcha yourself.
No, the key is for Simchas Yom Tov. You want to enter the place, to get some stuff, to enjoy that. That's for Simchas Yom Tov, yeah. That's Simchas Yom Tov, yeah. That's part of Simchas Yom Tov. But you can see that we just take granted, yeah, you're allowed to carry in Yom Tov. No, you're not allowed to carry in Yom Tov. Only if it has to do with food, or Simchas Yom Tov, and only according to the house of Hillel. House of Shammai even then says, Gzera everywhere. The decree is everywhere. Not Simchas Yom Tov, even cannot take it out. According to Shammai. Beit Shammai אומרים, לא ייטול. And another rule, we're going to have a difference between Shammai and Hillel. There's, in the shovach, in the dove coop, let's call it, up on the tower, the question is it enough to think about, I am going to eat one of those guys let's say it's in your house, to make it easier. You have a chicken coop, right? Yeah. Is it enough to think before Yom Tov, I'm going to eat one of these? Or do you actually have to designate by touch? You have to do something. You have to hold it up, maybe. So Beit Shammai omrim, Beit Shammai says, when it comes to the chicken or to the doves, lo itol, you're not allowed to take. What does it mean, muchan, designate it? Now we're going to decide, how do you designate? According to Beit Shammai, lo itol yonim b'yom tov kedei shadai zan. You're not allowed to take the chicken or the doves on Yom Tov in order to slaughter them. Ela ken im neinea mibeod yom. It says, you know how you prepare them? You need to physically touch them. You need to physically touch them, pick them up before Yom Tov. That's how we know you designated it. Just thinking about it, according to Beit Shammai, is not good enough. You have to do action. You have to do something.
So it's designating a particular chicken.
That's right.
Not any chicken.
That's right. And we're going to have problems. What happened?
The chicken died.
Or if the chicken disappeared.
Or disappeared.
Yeah. Or you're not sure if this is the chicken. Go no. Some chickens look the same. This one. What happened? Yeah.
They look the same.
They look the same, exactly. What do you do? Now, with chickens, it's not such a problem, but think about it. If you have like 50 sheep, how would you know? What, you know them by look? Oh, so maybe you can designate it by number. Maybe if they have numbers. But if they don't have numbers in the old times, it's a problem. You need to do action. You need to move them. You need to do something with them. ובית הלל אומרים, עומד ואומר, זה וזה אני נוטל. בית הלל says you don't have to touch them. He says, you see this one, the one in the corner? That's the one I'm going to take and check tomorrow. That's enough. You know, it's enough to think about it. Let's put it this way. אינו צריך לנענע. He doesn't need to actually physically move the chicken or the dove. אלא בא ואומר מבעוד יום. Only needs to do it, but he needs to prepare it. It's not like you can just go. Otherwise, if you didn't think about it as food, beforehand, it's not food. You're not allowed to carry it now. It's muktzeh. So on Yom Tov, you're allowed to shecht as long as you prepared it. Okay? So he did prepare it. אומר ובא מבעוד יום שיטול ביום טוביונים אלו. He says, these ones on the corner I want. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שמחלוקם של בית שמאי ובית הלל היא בבריכה ראשונה שבאותו שבח. It says, where is our argument exactly? The argument is in the first pair. What does it mean, the first pair? Those farmers will understand what it means immediately. See, none of you are farmers. Yeah? First pair is the one that you want the children to be like. This is the ones that are like you have a certain bull that only you want his children. And a certain cow, in other words, you want the doves to be fat like them. So it says, in other words, what happens? In other words, you said this and this. What did you mean you said this and this? Let's see. This is brecha rishona. Brecha rishona, the first pool, means this is the ones you want the doves to be. This is the source of all the doves. In other words, this is the main ones. Everything else is the fruit of these ones. Yeah, it's like the fruit. This is the tree, and this is like the fruit of this one. היינו, בשני הגוזלות הראשונים, in the two first doves, in the doves that bring all the other ones, שלדעת בית שמאי, so it's like this. We're only talking about, Beit Shammai says you need to move them when it's the first two. But if it's not the first two, you don't need to move them.
When you say the first two, what do you mean by
the ones that you want to procreate, the one that you want to breed. It's only the ones that you want to breed. You need to take them out of the breedment by touching them. The other ones you don't need to touch because they are fruit. Obviously, they are made for eating. But the first two, now we're not sure that you made. They are the source. Maybe you don't want to. In other words, you probably will assume you don't want to eat them.
It's like you touch the tree, so you can eat now any food.
That's right.
That's what you were saying.
That's right. But the opposite, because you touch in order for them to become fruit, you need to touch them. Okay? Think about it this way. In order for them to become fruit, you need to touch them. It's not enough to think about it.
Any of those pigeons there,
you don't need to touch.
you don't need to touch.
But
only
only the
the two.
tree. The tree you need to touch in order to make it a fruit.
Okay.
That's what the argument is. Okay. שלדעת בית שמאי, according to the הזאת שמאי, to the breeding ones, לא די לזמן אותם בדיבור לבד. You cannot take them out of the status of breeding just by thought. Because maybe you're going to change your mind 2 seconds later. So no, I'm not going to eat them because these are the main ones, and then they're not ready. שמה שיקלם ביום טוב, ימלך בדעתו ויחוס עליהם. Because we're afraid maybe you're going to change your mind in 2 seconds. Because this is the source of everybody. You don't want to eat the tree. Maybe the fruit you want to eat, but the tree, you have to do something if you want to eat the tree. You have to show me that you really want to eat the tree. כדרך מגדלי יונים, this is the way of those who grow doves, שחסים על בריכה ראשונה. That they have a special connection to the first pair. It says, these guys, you see, all these doves, they come from them. This is the special ones. In other words, they have a special status. They're not just fruit. They're not just produce. They're not meat. They have a special designation to them. ונמצא מטלטלם שלא לצורך. And now you find that you're going to carry them and then move them back. He says, I don't want this to happen. That the next day you're going to say, I designate them and you carry them. He says, no, what am I doing? I'm taking my favorite ones. And then you're going to put them back and take another one. So now you touch something which was not for Yom Tov. So therefore, unless you actually touch them with your hand to show that they are not just by thought, it's not enough. אבל מי שנהנה מבעוד יום ולא חס עליהם, but once you make a decision, I'm going to eat them tomorrow, not just by thought. Actually, you made a movement, a hand movement. You showed reality. That's right. You brought them to become fruits now, not breeders. שוב, אין חוששים שמא יחוס עליהם מחר. Once you picked your puppy up, let's say we eat dogs. Once you eat the dog up and you designated it for food, you're going to eat it. But if you didn't pick him up, and you kissed him, no, you're not going to eat the dog. That's one of the things. It's your pet. What do you mean? It's your friend. You have special connection with him. ובית הלל סוברים, in the house of Hillel, they think, שדי לזמן בדיבור, אפילו ברכה ראשונה. It says it's enough, even the first source, to say, to just think about it, and you already designated them as fruits. שאין חוששים שמא יחוס עליהם. It says, we're not talking about, Beit Hillel says, we're not talking about modern people over here. People don't get attached to food. This is not pets, this is food. And modern people have a problem with it. But old guys, Beit Hillel says, no, this is food. Everybody knows it's food. You're not going to be attached to it. אבל בבריחה שנייה והבאות אחריהן, but the second generation and the third generation and so on, הכל מודים שאם הוא אמר מבעוד יום, even בית שמאי, בית הלל, everybody admits that as long as you said, even not touched, just said or thought, אלו ואלו אני נוטל, he says, these and these ones, I am taking דיו. And by the way, it looked like according to the house of Hillel, just thinking is not enough. It needs to say. You need to speak it. I just noticed it now when I read the last line. You have to speak it. It's not enough just to think. You have to know which one. But it's not enough just to think this and this. It has to be, you have to say it with what, you have to do a physical act. The question is, does the physical act have to be with your hands or with your speech? But it has to be, according to both of them, a physical act. Thought doesn't work. It's like davening. You cannot pray in thought. It has to be a physical act. That's what it looks like from both of them. I just noticed it.